Okay, today we're going to talk about disassembling modern G.I. Joe action figure. We're going to be disassembling Snake Eyes here. First, I want to tell you about some of the tools I'll be using to get this done. We have a rig I have made here. This is basically just a frame that's made out of a wire coat hanger, a 6-inch square piece of 3/4 inch thick shelving board, bent into shape. This is cardboard with aluminum foil covering it, wrapped around it, and the purpose of that is to hold your blow dryer. Hold your blow dryer there, you can close it up, it makes like an oven. That helps to heat the figure up. You're also going to need some precision screwdrivers. I like to use a pair of long needle nose pliers. It's always good to have another pair of pliers, just with a little better grip on hand. And just in case you need them to get into a seam, a nice pair of flush cutters. I also like to use a dental syringe. This has a silicone based lubricant in it that helps you get up into the joints of the figure. Inject a little bit of the lube in there and loosen things up, makes them come apart a little easier. And when you're cracking the seams on the torso of the figure, you're going to need a utility knife. I have a chisel blade here, an angle blade, good little stubby handle, and then a regular X-Acto knife. Be sure to use a sharp blade. As always, if you're using a sharp blade, be very careful that you don't cut yourself. Cut away from yourself and watch your hands. Okay, the first thing we're going to want to do is, let's go ahead and take off anything that's going to pop off easy on its own. His head will usually come off with no problems. The hands on this guy's a little stiff. Not going to risk breaking anything. Alright, and his feet are still pretty stiff. So we're going to want to put him into our dryer rig. Once you put him in, just close the door up. Got a little extra flap of tape here. Close the door up on it. Turn on low and wait. Now it doesn't take very long for the figure to start getting soft. So go ahead and check him. The hands are already soft and they're starting to pop out easy. Still have a little resistance there. Put him back in. It'll take a couple of minutes, but you just have to be patient with it and keep an eye on it so that you don't melt the figure. Now in this step, this really long needle nose can be your friend. And this is where we'll use our dental syringe with the lubricant. Let's check what we've got. He's starting to soften up. So I'm going to inject into his joint there a little bit of lube just so it runs out. Same here. Get down into the peg hole. A little bit of lube just so that it runs out. Now, with these pliers, you're going to find the swivel part of the joint. Let's get in there and grab it. Okay, let's give him a little bit more heat. He kind of cooled off for a second. Some heat going now, and his lower arms will pop out. And then with this guy, the same thing for his feet. Get back under the heat for a second. Now the way it's built, I mean, we're a good 3 inches from the bottom of the thing here. That gives you enough, but you're not right on the figure and burning it or melting it. But you're still getting good heat and it's being blocked in here. Now his feet pop right out. And with this guy, a modern G.I. Joe, his lower legs, now you can just take and push the pin, take your precision screwdriver, push the pin a little bit, his leg will pop right out. Same on this side, because he's nice and pliable. Once you get plastic pliable, you can work with it. And it pops right apart. And we've got him down to this point. Now with the modern G.I. Joe, this stage, you're just going to want to unscrew. Unscrew. A very important note, it's always good to have a few of these little 3-inch by 4-inch baggies if you're going to be customizing figures. Not only I can keep a whole figure in this bag, but more importantly, I can keep all of the little parts that I've accumulated here as I'm taking this figure apart in this bag. Keep everything in here. That way you're keeping up with your screws, you're keeping up with the little bushings inside the legs, you're keeping up with hands. You know, as you're taking things apart, put them in a little bag. That way you can easily keep up with them. Okay, so to get the torso cracked, I'm going to look underneath his arm and you'll see a seam. Take your X-Acto knife, I'm using a little stubby handled here, the angled head. Get it up under the arm, where the arm goes into the socket, and push down. And work your way through. Come over to this other side, same thing. Feel the seam with your blade. Under the arm, go into the seam, and push down. Now you've cut through both sides. Take your precision screwdrivers, go into the little gap there, push it in on that side, grab another one, go into your other side here, push it in. Now you've pried it apart, and you've got the lower part of the torso off with the T-peg. Now at this point, you've got a gap, you've got something you can work with a little better, so you can actually go to a bigger screwdriver, get him in there, and pop it apart. Now if you'll notice, your pegs are intact. You slice through this area down here, but you still have your pegs. So when you go to put this guy back together, you'll be able to just line the torso right back up with the pegs, close them up and glue. And that's it.